always want to win. It's not about second best for me. I'm not happy with being second best. You got to say to yourself, am I going to take this seriously, or am I going to make myself look like a clown in front of 20,000 people?
Well, it's all over. It's all over here in the first round. Lovely right hand.
Were you like, shit, like, this is my career gone, what the fuck am I going to do?
I always say to myself, if I was to fight now, I'll be a better fighter now than I was back then, because coaching teaches you so much. I knew he was going to win. But at the same time, there's something in the back of my head going, if Deji loses this, I'm going to be seen as the world's bloody crappiest coach.
Here we go. Let's see if Deji can get his first professional win and his first pro KO. And they're going to throw it in. Deji's won!
Talking about boxing and being real, you're going to die if you don't put in the work. Everything started to make sense of why I am the way I am. Got abused in foster homes, physically, sexually, and yeah, these are all the ones that, you know, growing up, you just kind of blank all that stuff out.
Are you happy now? So today we are joined by Daley Perales, professional boxing teacher, as you like to be called. Yeah. I said, is it coach or trainer? Obviously you said teacher. You're blown up all over social media. I see you everywhere. Obviously I've actually seen you judge fights as well on the Misfits scene. But for me, it's, although people may know you from Misfits and coaching celebrities and stuff like that, for me it's more about you as a person. Obviously you've achieved a lot more than just coaching celebrities. And I think it's right to actually have you on and share that story, bro, because I'm very inspired by everything you've achieved up till now. But for the people who don't know who you are, and I think it's important to highlight that, bro. Yeah. You're from London?
Yeah, not originally.
Not originally
from Hertfordshire.
Right, okay.
In a little town called Ware.
Right, okay.
And normally when I say that, people go, where? I say, where? And they say, where's where? I say, it's in Ware. It's in Hertfordshire. It's a little town. You probably can walk the whole town within 10 minutes. Everyone knows everyone.
Sweet. So getting into boxing, how did that journey begin for you?
Well, my older brothers, I come from a boxing family. So I've got OJ Abrahams and JJ Ojaderi. A lot of different surnames going on in our family. But they're my older brothers. And when I started to get to know them after, I was in foster home a lot, so I obviously looked up to them. I was like, oh wow, they're professional boxers, and I was like a really high, like good standard at football. Like football's my passion, even till now. Football's my passion, but something drove me towards boxing, and eventually I just ended up just going down that road.
And what was it? What was that thing that drove you towards boxing? Because I know that obviously as a young lad, a lot of people look to football, and that's the sport most people do. With boxing, I feel like it's a little bit more, it's certainly like an impoverished sport, isn't it? Like a lot of people come into that with no money. Was that something like your upbringing? Does that sound like that?
Yeah, kind of different. I would say, foster homes is a very hard upbringing I had, and took a toll on me emotionally, physically, and I just think like the childhood that I had, a lot of the time I felt alone. And boxing, you got your coach, but when that bell rings, you're on your own. Your coach can't help you. Yeah. So I think I just gravitated towards the hardship of what boxing brings, because it's one of the hardest sports in the world, and not everyone can step it. Not everyone can do boxing. Not everyone can do the training, and let alone step in, through the ropes.
How old were you when you realised that you had something in boxing? Was there a particular occasion or memory that you have where you thought, you know what, like you're putting the work in, but where someone's like, you know what, Daley, like you've got something there, bro?
I think from day one.
Was it?
Just being around my brothers. I'm a visual learner. I can't do anything academically. I'm very educated, but in a visual way. So everything I learn is visual. I also got autism as well. So maybe that's why my brain works so great in boxing, because I just watch something one time and it will just stay in my mind for the rest of my life. So yeah, I don't know.
It's unbelievable that, mate. It's funny you say about the autism stuff, because I know my partner's got like dyslexia, dyspraxia and stuff like that, and she thinks completely different to me, and it could be something so trivial, and I can't get my head around it. And I was always intelligent growing up through school and stuff, and quite academic, and there was certain things I'm like, how can I not fucking figure that out? And she's like, just do this, bam, it's done.
Yeah.
The brain works in a different way. Obviously boxing, it's patterns, it's drills, it's all that type of stuff. What's happening, guys? I hope you're enjoying the episode so far. If you are, please hit that like, hit the subscribe button, and press the notification bell so you don't miss another episode.
Yeah.
I feel like something that you can't teach is the hunger. And I think that's something I'm particularly interested in. And certainly, I mean, I've seen you, the cameras, when you're cornering fighters and stuff, and the passion that you're knocking out there is fucking unreal. I don't see it, mate. I don't really see that in professional boxing. You know what I mean? I don't really see that. Like, I see, you hear the talk, you can hear the coaches on the interviews and stuff, but from a passion point of view, it's like, I feel like there's so much more than just boxing for you. Yeah. And clearly when you've said that, and I didn't know that about you, I didn't know the kind of the upbringing you had and stuff, and, you know, I think that is what makes the person. What I want to touch on as well, you suffer with bipolar as well?
No, it's not bipolar, it's borderline personality disorder.
That's the one, sorry.
People will... it's okay, because people, you know, sometimes get it confused between the two, but it's totally different.
And how did you realise that was a thing in your life?
Not until I was a grown man.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's something that you kind of had?
I've had it, always had it, but I just didn't, you know, I didn't realise. And then, but it all made sense. When I was diagnosed, I think it was like only 3-4 years ago.
Right, okay.
When I was diagnosed, that's when everything started to make sense. When I started to research, or I started to have the therapy, everything started to make sense of why I am the way I am, and why my brain works the way it does. You know what I mean? And little things, it could be, why am I so quiet? But then in a boxing gym or doing my job, I'm so like an extrovert, outgoing, passionate, talk about boxing in pure detail, but away from that, I'm a closed book. I don't like going out. I don't socialize. I don't do any of that stuff. If anyone wants to find me, I'm gonna be at home. That's all I do. I go to the gym. I go home. I don't really do anything.
Yeah, it's crazy that, you know, because even on your stories and stuff, the passion's bleeding from you. It is. When you're walking home from the gym, whatever you're doing, when you're on your commute and stuff. When you're in the house, I can tell body language, how you are. You seem a little bit more reserved when you're talking on camera. Yet I'll see a story the next day when you're in the gym fucking singing. Like, it's mad. It's literally mad. So, and I don't know anything about a disorder, or even if that is a characteristic of that disorder. But again, it's like, it's kind of unpicking the person that you are and why you were as good and as detailed and as passionate as what you are now. Going from boxing, how did your kind of boxing career come to an end?
So, there's a lot of reasons, and this is why with my professional fighters, I always like to share my experiences with them. Yeah. As someone that's a coach, trainer, teacher, mentor, father figure, older brother, or whatever, I like to share all the experiences I've gone through, not just boxing, but personal stuff as well. Just to let them know, look, like you know, it's all right to go through things. It's all right to have bad days, but at the same time, what's your goal in life? Where do you want to get to? And you use that as fuel to your fire to be successful. So that's what I've done. And I've had lots of setbacks along the way. And one of them was, obviously, I got an injury when I was early in my pro career, my rib, and it didn't heal properly. So like if someone was to hit it right on that point, you know, it would just go again. So I tried to make a comeback. And I was going to fight on a Golden Boy promotion show in America. I went to America. I thought, you know what, I'm just going to, let's go again. But if I'm going to do it, I've always wanted to go to America because my style is American. So I just took myself out of my comfort zone, went there, sparred against high-level people. I was sparring one that was ranked number 10 in the world, Golovkin's sparring partner. You know, when I went in there, the one thing about America is, when you go into their gyms and you're from another country, especially the UK, they look at you like you're nothing. Like, who is this? Yeah. Think he can come in my gym and this and that. But once you hold your own or beat them up, then that's when you get respect. Yeah. So they started calling me London when I was there. On my one of my last spars there, I got hit on that point again. And then that's when I was like, you know what, maybe it's time, you know, to call it a day. Then there's other, you know, circumstances as well. I had kids young, you know, and having kids young stems from, you know, my childhood, and I just wanted to, you know, something for myself.
If you don't know by now, I run a business called The Content PT. I create content for influencers, PTs, online coaches and fitness brands all around the world. So if you are someone who's in need for sexy content for your social media, or you really want to maintain a competitive edge in your industry, drop me a DM on Instagram.
Your own unit.
Yeah, my own unit and stuff. So a lot of things got in the way, like having kids young. So like if I was to talk to my pros now, I say, listen, hold off on kids. You know what I mean? So even though I love my kids and I appreciate they're here and I wouldn't change it, but at the same time, you know, I struggled a lot to be a father because I wasn't ready. And also because I wasn't ready, I suffer from a lot of stuff from my childhood, like a lot of childhood trauma. So a lot of things plays a big part of why I am the way I am, and how I try to always give back to my fighters in a positive way, and to social media as well. I always want to be real on social media. I never want to be fake on social media.
You talk about your childhood traumas, and obviously you don't have to go into any detail that you don't want to, but how bad was things for you as a child?
Well, I stayed with 14 different families. So if that in itself had an effect on me, and you don't realize it until you're older, because then it starts affecting the other people around you.
Of course.
Like, for example, my wife, for example.
Yeah.
And you don't realize, you know, what you're doing to other people around you. But what can I say? You know, when I think really deep about it, I'll put it this way. Imagine, so I stayed with 14 different families. Imagine you stay with one family.
Yeah.
You get used to that family, comfortable with that family, which is hard in itself because you don't know them and you don't know what to expect. You get comfortable with that family. Then all of a sudden, social services come and go, right, we're moving you again. They take you in a car. You're driving and you don't know. The anxiety is built as you, because you know in a car journey, you can feel when something's getting closer.
Yeah.
So the anxiety starts building. So as you're getting closer, you're looking out the window as a little kid, looking around at your surroundings, thinking, where am I going? Where am I going? Where am I going? I hope these people are nice. I hope these people are nice. Then you pull up, then you get introduced to the new family, and you don't even want to go to the toilet.
Yeah.
You don't even want to ask for a drink. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because you don't know these people. You know what I mean? So, and you don't know what to expect. You don't know if they're nice, if they're bad, going to be bad to you, all this stuff. So that in itself is just like a little small part of how it affected me and all my relationships growing up. And not just like the obvious relationship. I'm talking about any relationship. Yeah. You know, so that's just a small portion. But the other things are obviously I got abused in foster homes, physically, sexually, and these are all the ones that, you know, growing up, you just kind of blank all that stuff out.
Yeah.
And even to this day, I still blank that stuff out.
Yeah.
It's probably not good that I do that, but I don't know. I've had therapy and everything, and I still don't know how to, you know, deal with it. You
don't want to relive that, do you? So you you compartmentalise it, don't you? I'm assuming. Do you know what I mean? What was your relationship like with your parents after that, or was that non-existent? Your biological parents?
Yeah. See, the thing is, going back a tiny bit, one of my main foster parents, they raised me and my younger brother. I got 9 brothers, but only me and my younger brother got put into foster care. Yeah. My other brothers and sisters, they got raised most of the time by my dad because my mum and dad split up.
Right, okay.
Right? So we were in foster homes, but there was in where the foster parents, a white family, and reason why I emphasize white family, because in those times as well, to raise two little black boys,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
I bet you they got some stick.
Yeah, exactly. You're getting stared at, you're getting looked at and stuff like that. You think, what's going on there? People can't make sense of it and stuff. But I actually thank them to this very day. Like, I call them mum and dad to this day.
100%.
Because they raised us for majority of the time, even though we stayed with 14 different families and children homes and stuff like that. And going back to my mum and dad, my dad is Nigerian. And if you know about, through my experience of a Nigerian dad, they're all laid back and chilled. So it's really hard to, like, have a close relationship with him in like a father-son way, because he's just so laid back and relaxed. It's just like, I've never been able to build a relationship with him. So with him, as I've become an adult, we talk more, but not a lot. It's probably like, I don't know, every few months he message and goes, what you up to? Or if there's a family event, that he wants to bring the whole family together, because I've got an 83-year-old dad. So I've got a pretty old dad for someone that's my age. So maybe that's why he makes an effort, because he's getting older now. With my mum, this is where all the problems are, because and this is what I'm saying, like the problems are like with my wife, for example, who's stuck by me through everything. And has been by my side through it all, through boxing, through personal stuff, through things that, that I've, through my depression, through my borderline personality disorder, everything. She stuck by me. But my mum is really, I don't know why, has had a real effect on me. And the only thing I can think of is like a kid needs their father, but I think even more, especially they say a son needs their dad. But I think sons can, even though they might get angry of a dad not being around, I think it's even worse if a mum is not around. Yeah. Because you get that motherly love.
Yeah, I think boys are naturally closer to the mums, aren't they? Like,
exactly. So imagine, I never had that. I never had no mum telling me, I love you, or giving me a hug, or this and that. All the things that a mother should be doing, in a vital stage of a child's life, that wasn't there for me. And it's weird, because I'm doing this podcast, and I've done things, people have asked me about my childhood before, but I hold back a lot because I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. And sometimes I think, wait a minute, why should I have to hold back something that was so real to me?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? I'm not trying to hurt anyone. I'm not trying to be disrespectful to my mum, to my dad. You know what I mean? Because they might have gone through stuff in their life back then that I don't know about. But this is the thing, we've never had these conversations, so it's just, everything's just left in the air for me to figure out everything by myself. So it's not a thing where I don't love my mum, I don't love my dad. But at the same time, I don't want my mum and dad to be like turning around, and because I'm doing a podcast and speaking my truth, of for them to be pissed off and angry with me just because I'm sharing my life, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, I've been given a platform now, and there's people out there that could get inspired by my story, and I could help even just one person. So why should I have to like lie or hide my life just for the sake of someone else's feelings? Because I went through it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They never went through it. Yeah. You know what I mean? And they've never sat me down and asked me questions. How do I feel? What did you go through in these homes? You know what I mean? Is there anything I can do? Or I'm sorry that this happened to you and this and that, blah, blah. Like, these conversations have not really happened. So with my mum, I have a really difficult relationship with her, and it's really affected me a lot. Yeah.
And I think, again, it's not about sort of, disrespecting anyone, even if you were done wrong by. It's not about, like, as you say, I don't love. It's not that we're not saying that. What we are is, I literally just want the truth, and that's all I ask for on a podcast.
Yeah.
Like, and if you don't want to share the truth, and or whatever, you don't want to, and that you obviously, I respect your pride. If you say, you know what, mate, I don't want to talk about it, that's fine. But I think that, again, like, and one of the biggest reasons, Daley, that I do the podcast is, for me, I was just saying it actually to the last guest, like, I always struggled with sitting down and having conversations with people. Like, I was never the confident guy, and everyone I meet was like, you're confident as fuck. And I was like, mate, like, you don't know, before you came in, I was actually like, fuck, like, I'm fucking nervous, like, but doing this actually helps me break through that shit. I don't know where that comes from, but I feel like it's really important to do that. So if I've got to be vulnerable and put myself in a platform where people are going to, even if they want to take the piss and like, you know, you don't seem that confident on that one or whatever, that I know that I can watch that back at my own devices and say, look, do you know what, like, I'm the guy giving it a go, though. That's the difference. Because how many people now would love to sit down and have their own dad on a podcast and they haven't got the balls to do it? They don't even speak to them in person. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like, and I think these conversations are really fucking important. No phones, nothing. And again, this is why I wanted to get you on, because I feel like your story, not that I knew it, from you as a character now, I can instantly say, actually, there must be something here. There's something. People don't just come out with this type of passion, and they don't do it, bro. Like, winners are winners, and I believe it comes from a deeper thing. Whether that's a parent thing, whether that's, you know, how you were raised on the streets, whether that's prison, whatever it may be for that person, I feel like it's that gets them to this point. And so I always want to say again, like, I do thank you so much, mate, for coming on and having this conversation with us. I really do. Back to the boxing stuff, though. Obviously, you've been brought up in that environment. You know, you had the injury, your rib. You were in America. How did that feel that day? Were you like, shit, like, this is my career gone? What the fuck am I going to do now? Or was it actually, do you know what? Maybe this is meant to be.
Yeah, I think it was just like meant to be.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I've had loads of bad things happen in my life. It's nothing new to me. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I'm a soldier. You know what I mean? So. Yeah, just dust myself off, and straight away, actually, literally straight away, I knew I wanted to, you know, train fighters. Mm-hmm. I didn't want to be like a PT or, you know, even though I still train clients as well, I didn't want that to be my thing. I wanted to be a professional boxing trainer and mold future world champions, you know, and build champions, build the future. You know?
Do you think that's so you can kind of live vicariously through them? Like, I nearly got to where I wanted to be in life through the boxing. So if I can do it with someone else, I kind of get to live my dream through them. Or do you think this is actually, no, this is about me transferring my energy into you and making you great?
Yeah, it's about my energy, my knowledge of the sport. Why waste it? You know what I mean? Pass it down. You know what I mean?
Unbelievable, that.
And actually coaching, as I always say to myself, if I was to fight now, I'll be a better fighter now than I was back then, because coaching teaches you so much. You learn so much. You gain more knowledge through coaching than actually fighting. That's the crazy thing.
Crazy, that is.
Yeah, it's the crazy thing. So, and I'm competitive as well. Mm-hmm. So I always want to win. It's not about second best for me. I'm not happy with being second best. I just want to win. I want my fighters to win. I want them to be happy. I want them to, you know, be sensible with their money along the way and put it into businesses, because boxing's a short career. Yeah. So it's not just about training them. That's what I'm saying. I try and mentor them and try and guide them in the right way as well, away from boxing.
For me, what you've just said there literally arcs back to the fact that it's father figure. That's what you're doing. Because now looking at finances and their well-being, and actually, you know what, boxing may be short-lived, let's look about this, and that's fucking unreal. Like, it is. I
probably subconsciously just like that because I never had a mum and a father to do all that for me. Yeah. So I'm like that.
I would say that's what it is.
I'm like that with my fighters.
That's unreal. When you dusted yourself off and you got straight back into it, were you like, I'll just train anyone right now, I need to get in this and hustle? Or was it like, I'm only looking for guys who've got potential?
No, straight away I was looking for potential.
Oh yeah.
Straight away.
So what is it that makes someone potentially good? Like what? So if I walked into your gym, and even when you didn't have a gym, wherever you were training from, would you look at me and ads, let's do a certain thing? Nah, you haven't fucking got this. Or you're like, no, we can make you good. Like, what's your approach?
See, the only thing where I can look at it like where it's, you know, building someone from scratch, and I'm like, oh my God, they're terrible, but I can build them, is my brother, King Kenny. That's the only, or Deji.
Yeah.
That's the only thing where I've like bent my own rules. But if you talk about professional boxing, I need to see the potential where I can look at them and be like, I can mold them and I can build them from where they are. You know
Is
what I
that
mean?
just someone who has the foundations in place?
Yeah, so for example, Martin, Foru and George Mitchell, my pros, they've been with me from the beginning of their pro careers, right? So, but they already had a foundation of amateur boxing.
Yeah.
So I look at them and I'm like, you know what? I can tell if someone's going to be great or if I want to train someone within 30 seconds to 1 minute of watching them in a video.
Just through a video as well, you don't even have to see them in person.
Don't have to see them in person. Yeah, don't have to see them in person at all.
And do you think that's something you've got, or do you think other boxing trainers see that as well?
I hope other boxing trainers see that. Because I'm the kind of coach that, you know, we're all trying to, every coach wants a world champion. So I'm not one of these coaches that looks down on other coaches or they don't do this, do that. Every coach has their own way and their own methods and all that. I just know what I do. You know what I mean? And I'm just tunnel vision and I just get on with what I do, and hopefully I produce what I want to produce, which is world champions. It's just like this fighter I've been training for the last 6 months, Hamza Mahmood, and he's part of Team GB.
Right.
So he came to me, and it took me about 30 seconds to say yeah. So he's gonna go in. He's training for the Olympics.
Right. Okay.
And then he'll turn over with me once that's all done. You know what I
So are you pushing him towards the Olympics approach to
No, he's already in the setup.
Oh, he's already actually in Team GB now.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah, he's 2-time back-to-back national champion, ABA champion. Then he got selected for Team GB. He flies all around the world competing with Team GB. He's training now for the World Championships in the new year. And I think that's like the qualifiers for Paris.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So you're a student, aren't you?
Yeah.
Now, one thing, I had Ben Davison on the podcast, and I spent a bit of time with Ben at his gym, and I was doing a lot of the content for some of the fighters down there, and I watched Ben. He was in that gym, don't even know what early hour of the morning it was, bro, and he didn't leave till fucking hell. I don't even know. But I've never, and I've been around different boxing gyms and stuff, and I've never saw someone, he's like a scientist. That's what I saw. Now, obviously, there's different people got different opinions, different coaches, which is fine. But from what I personally saw, I was like, fucking hell, like, this guy is obsessed. But I also see that with you and how you are, and you watch back fights and you'll do like a reaction and I'm going to post a video on this fight and not many coaches do that. I also see the influencer style stuff or the celebrity style stuff, which when it first started, I wasn't a fan of.
Yeah,
and I was a little bit like, fucking hell, like, really, is this how things are going to go? But then I started to understand from a business point of view, and someone made a point to me. They said, I'm not going to mention the name, but there was an influencer fighter. First fight, I think he got 30 grand or something like that for the fight. And I also knew a pro boxer at the time who was saying, mate, I've been training for X amount of years and I'm not getting that money yet. But the guy who was also involved in the conversation, he said, yeah, ads, but because I was on the pro boxer side, I was like, he goes, yeah, but he's dedicated his life to building a following. You've got to remember that.
Yeah.
So yeah, he hasn't been in the gym, but he's built a following to get attention. And without attention, so without, whichever promo, even professional boxing is on, without attention, it's hard to make the fights. Yeah. So I feel like now I'm kind of not on the fence, I'm more pro that, actually. I'm like, actually, do you know what? Like, I think there's definitely a space for that. For you to get into that, obviously, people know you from training Deji and people like that as well. Is that something that you, because clearly you're a businessman, you can tell you're an entrepreneur, the way you think, act, have been, career, success. Was that a business decision, or did you actually see something in Deji, for instance?
No, because Deji came after.
Right, okay.
It was my brother, King Kenny.
Yeah.
Now, my brother came to me and go, bro, I'm potentially going to have one of these YouTube fights. And at first, I weren't really interested.
I can imagine.
I was like, I'm not mixing professional boxing with influencer boxing. You know what I mean? I do serious stuff. You know what I mean? I'm not mixing it. But at the end of the day, he's my brother.
Yeah.
Like, he's coming to me because I'm a professional boxing coach. So am I going to want him in the hands of someone else when I can guide him?
Of course not.
Keep him safe, teach him, show him the ropes. You know what I mean? Surround him around, put him around my fighters so he can learn. You know what I mean? So that's how I got into influencer boxing. It wasn't because of Deji. It wasn't because of business. It wasn't because of anything. It's because my brother needed my help.
Yeah.
Yeah, along with that comes money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it makes me laugh, you know, because you get the keyboard warriors sometimes that goes, you only train influencers for the money. But I would say, so what does anyone do in life?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Any job, even if you're a bin man, what are they putting rubbish in the back of a van for?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
To not earning any money.
Yeah, of
Everyone earns money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just happens to, I'm a coach that earns money. You know what I mean? But yeah, King Kenny, my brother, my younger brother, and I couldn't say no to him, even though I didn't want to get in the scene whatsoever. But I told him, if we're going to do this, let's do this the right way. Because you can die in this sport, you know? It's a serious sport. I don't want you looking like a clown. I want people to turn around and go, wow, yeah, I mean, he looks pretty decent for someone that's never boxed before in his life.
Yeah.
And when he first had his first session with me, I was like, oh my God, what am I doing? This is going to be
You
hard.
had your work cut out.
Yeah, this is going to be hard work. He was stiff. He didn't know how to do anything. Didn't know how to throw a punch, how to move his feet. He didn't have any rhythm, nothing. And in less than 2 years, he looks the way he does now. You know what I mean?
Looks insane, like.
And Deji, that's how Deji came along, because he saw what I was doing with my brother and was like, obviously could see, like, how am I getting him to look that good that quickly? So then Deji's team reached out, and that's how Deji came along.
Is your finger on the pulse with the YouTube scene in general, though? Because obviously you've got your brother, Kenny, and, you know, on YouTube and all the rest of it. When Deji's team came out here, were you like, who's this guy? Did you know him? Like, I know that sounds a bit mad. Were you like, oh, fucking hell, another one of these? Or did you think, actually, you know what, because he's a big dude.
Yeah.
So, like, certainly his profile. So was it like, fucking hell, like, I don't know if I should be the guy, but I'm also training this guy, so I've kind of blew the cover off. I'm not going to do influencer boxing. Did you feel like you were obliged to do it at that point? Because, like, if not you, then who else?
So Deji was at the gym I was at the time. Deji was doing a promo for his fight for the same show that Kenny was having his first fight.
Right, I see.
When he came in to do the promo, we hadn't finished training. We were doing pad work. And Deji was just there watching.
Did you extend your pad work a bit so you could watch?
So he's just watching. Yeah. I kind of knew who he was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because he's a famous YouTuber. Kind of knew who he was because through my kids and stuff. But yeah, then I think it was like a few weeks later, his management reached up to me. And I swear I said the same thing. I said, I don't know, man. I ain't got no time. I don't have no time. But then they were giving me the story, and I'm someone that's got a heart as well. Yeah. They were giving me the story. Deji is not getting trained properly. You know, nobody's taking him seriously. You know, they're not putting no effort into him, and he's a bit depressed. And so when they're giving all that talk, and then they're like, "Oh, we'll pay you this," even though he's fighting in only 6 weeks' time. We'll pay you this, but I was like, let me think about this. Okay, good money. But at the same time, when there's, even though there's money involved, I still want to win.
Yeah.
I still want to win.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you know, I want to have a good, you know, respectable reputation. I don't want to be seen as a joke of a coach.
And now there's more eyes on. It's
yeah,
more
so
apparent,
I really thought long and hard about Deji. But at the time, it was just a one-off fight.
Yeah.
I thought, okay, it's just one-off. You know what I mean? It's good money. And I've got the heart. You know what I mean? Let me see if I can help him.
Yeah.
Then at the same time, I thought it'd be good for my brother to have someone in the same field be in the same gym as him so he doesn't feel like he's alone going through this. Because my pro boxers, they have, each other to bounce off.
Yeah, of course.
So I thought that would be a good thing for Kenny. They can spar each other as well. They can help each other out, motivate each other, push each other.
Even from a mindset thing. 'cause
Yeah,
they're both in the same
exactly.
game.
So I done that. We trained. We only had really 2 weeks of hard training because he got COVID.
Fucking hell. And he was fighting 6 weeks later.
He
as
got
well.
COVID. Kenny got COVID. I got COVID. So we only had really 2 weeks. So in 2 weeks of hard training, I had to put a game plan together. People saw, like, how the hell does Deji look like that in just a few weeks? He looks completely different to his other 3 fights that he all lost.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So even though Deji lost his first fight under me, the signs were there, like, wow, how does he look like that?
Yeah.
Because he didn't get beaten up. He was looking slick, head movement, everything. He was a bit hesitating to throw. And that's confidence. So
Which comes with experience.
With experience and stuff. And because of the stuff he's been through with his other fights and stuff.
Yeah.
So after the fight, I was like, you know, actually, it was in the ring. He said to the crowd, does everyone want me to still train with Daley? And everyone went crazy. And so I thought, all right, I guess I'm training him then. But with Deji, it's different. So with my brother, it was like, you know, older brother. But with my brother, it's like, when he comes into the gym, he doesn't call me Daley. He calls me coach. It's like business-like with my brother. You know what I mean? We're here to do a job.
Yeah.
We're not messing around here. With Deji, he's a bit sensitive. He reminds me of myself. He's like an introvert as well. You know, like he stays in unless he has to go to these things he has to do because he's obligated to do. He doesn't really go anywhere. He's a bit shy and all that kind of stuff unless he's on the camera doing his YouTube stuff.
Yeah.
So I think I saw a bit of myself in him. But I told him the same talk. I say, listen, take it serious and I can get you looking good. You know what I mean? But I need you to meet me halfway.
Well, even that first fight under you, although he lost, he looked like a fucking boxer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like,
but see, with Deji, it was more about, my brother, he's got a strong mentality.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's a student of the game. So with my brother, it's more about building his boxing. With Deji, yes, I was building his boxing, but I was also trying to change his mindset.
Yeah.
That was the biggest job for me, was to get his mind right. Because remember, he lost 3 in a row, or 4 in a row. Yeah? No, 3 in a row. Sorry, 2. Yeah, I got that wrong. So yeah, he lost.
That was 3 in a row.
Did he lost 3 in a row?
He lost 3, I think, before you.
Okay, so it was about, you know, changing that mindset, giving him confidence. And I've grown up on coaches like Emmanuel Stewart is one of my favorite coaches of all time. And the reason why I like him is because the way he can get to a fighter in the mind. You know what I mean? Because if you can do that, the boxing is easy. Teaching them is easy. I know what I'm doing.
When you say the mind, do you mean as in this guy is coachable? Because some people are not willing to be coached, are they?
Yeah.
Or
No,
do you mean
I meant
deeper
like,
than that?
I meant deeper than that. For me, if I don't understand my fighter, if I don't know them as a human being, like with Deji, I didn't want Deji to feel like, hey, listen, I'm just training you because you're Deji, the famous YouTuber.
Yeah, of course.
I wanted him to actually understand that, listen, I really got your back. And I'm a dedicated trainer. I want to win, but I also got your back. So I wanted to know him as the human being he is. I wanted to know his personality. You know what I mean? I didn't want to just leave it just to the gym. I go around his house sometimes. You know what I mean? We laugh, we joke, you know, all these kind of things just to build that trust. So then he can trust me with the training, you know, to build him as a fighter. And that's what you've seen. So, yeah. And I've tried to change his mind, change his mindset. Because he always had it. He needs someone to like believe in, kick him up the arse, believe in him.
Yeah.
And for him to trust that person, to know that person's going to be there for him. And I'm there for him.
And that's crazy because for someone like with that kind of profile, you'd believe that he would feel the trust from millions of people who watch him every day.
Yeah. But,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they still have that thing. And again, you going around to his house and doing them little things that all add to the piece of the pie of trust.
Yeah.
It's back to you, bro.
Back to me,
Back to you, you know what I mean? I think I mean, I fucking love this shit, you know.
Yeah.
You know, that type of stuff, because it just kind of it goes back to like, actually, this is what's real and this is what isn't real. You mentioned earlier about you never knew whether to even with your brother to kind of work with him, and you kind of said, you know, because we do serious stuff here. What does that mean? Because aren't all YouTubers trained by guys who know their coaching? Or is that not the case? Now, we don't have to mention names and stuff, of course not.
Yeah.
But is that, or do you think a lot of these guys aren't really getting taught properly?
Well, I'm an observer. I could be sitting back, quiet, not saying a single thing, but my mind's is working. You know what I mean? So I see everything. And now, YouTubers are starting to take it more seriously, as in, oh, I think I need better coaches. You know what I mean? Because if I'm going to be one of the best YouTube boxers, I need proper training. Yeah. They've started to realize that this ain't a game, even when it comes to the minutes of the rounds and them gassing out after 1 minute. They're like, I've never felt like this before. Or getting punched in the face. I've never been hit like that before. You know what I mean? Even to fighting in front of 20,000 people, doing ring walks. All that stuff plays a part. You know what I mean? And it plays a part. So you got to say to yourself, am I going to take this seriously, or am I going to make myself look like a clown in front of 20,000 people? Yeah. So when I came in the scene, I think people, this is going on, even yourself and like everyone else, like feedback.
Yeah.
I don't think there was really anyone that is so outgoing when it comes to talking about boxing and being real.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care. I say it how it is. Yeah. You know what I mean? Or never heard someone like just I'm talking about in the influencer world, just come on the platform and just say, you're going to die if you don't put in the work.
And that's why I said, well, even before you came on, I said I was excited because I knew you were going to bring the conversation, which is, is the thing, like, with all of that being said, and the ring walks and the people and the fucking, all the status and the money, forget about the fighters. If we look at Daley, in obviously your life changed as well, because I think the way I look and the way I perceive social, looking at all the kind of boxers and stuff who I'm connected to and all the rest of it, when I see your profile and your stuff, in my mind, whether this is right or wrong, you have became the celebrity coach. That's how I look. I know that and I know you don't want that. You're like, fuck off, shake that shit. But you have, because I don't know anyone else who's the face for that, who does what you do. There's other people who coach other fighters on these misfits cards and stuff, but I feel like you are the guy. Your name is bounced around, fucking, mate, I support a lot of people, and your name gets bounced around all the time. So I kind of think maybe this is something that I would lean into if I was you. I don't know if that's what you're already doing and that's your game plan, but when you did the stuff that you did with these YouTubers, your money changed as well, clearly, and your kind of lifestyle changed, the way you do things, because clearly you didn't have time to take these guys on, but you've had to sacrifice something to take them on. Yeah. So money's got to be a benefit. You know what I mean? So how was that for you when your profile changed? Because I've actively looked at your Instagram over the last few months and even seen your following just go bum, 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 bum. So how's that for you? Do you not like that? Are you not about that? Are you just, look, I'm here for the boxing and fuck everything else? You can delete me Instagram tomorrow? Or do you actually think, do you know what, like, you know?
I love it in the way that I've now got a platform where I can, educate people, about the sweet science of boxing. You know what I mean? And be real to people. I've got a platform where I can talk about my life if I want to and inspire people. Yeah. You know what I mean? I get messages every day of people going, I'm depressed or I'm going through mental issues. You know what I mean? And I'm one of those guys, if I've got the time to reply to message, I'm going to do it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I'm not going to be like, oh, well, now I've got a blue tick. Now I've got a little bit of following. Oh, I train Kenny and Deji. I'm not going to answer to anyone. You know what I mean? Because I was once someone that wasn't, in that spotlight like that. You know what I mean? But I embrace it. It's a good feeling to, for people to, messaging, say they love my work, and they're inspired and stuff like that. So that's why that platform, you know what I mean? Because I said the other day on my story, if I didn't have that following, I'll still be doing what I'm doing.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I'll still be passionate, dedicated, grinding every single day. in what I do in boxing. You know what I mean? So it just so happened I have that platform now. And if I've got that platform, then I want to use it to inspire people.
So do you feel like it was a good move to do what you've done? Because obviously now, whether you like it or not, there's probably a stigma attached. And there will be, and I guarantee it, there will be people who only see you as what you've did the past few, which is a shame because you're fucking more than just that. But at the same time, there's nothing wrong with being that, because then if not you, who? And I feel like that's a thing. And I always say this about these podcasts when I get people on. Like, I've got some, mate, I would have fucking killed to be in with some of the guys who are. And even then, it's like, but if not me, odds. Like, even though when I'm sitting down, sometimes talking about it, I'm like, fucking hell, should I? And I'm really, can I do this guy justice? But I think, but then who else will? And then what are they gonna? Do you know what I mean? Like if it's not gonna, I'm confident enough to say, no, I will do it and I'll give it a go. And I've always been that way.
There's one friend of mine, or client of mine, and he said to me, I don't know. He said, he messaged me a few months ago. He goes, I respect you. He goes, because you could have, all these years, you could have got a 9 to 5 and you stuck to your guns and been in that gym every single day, and you've still managed to balance professional boxing and influencer boxing, even though you knew that it was going to be a risk for you to go in that influencer world, because it was a risk for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because of what I stand for when it comes to boxing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And this is why I try to educate the influencer, you know, the fan base, you know. But I remember Deji's second fight under me, O2 Arena.
I was there.
Against Fuzi.
Yeah, I was there.
Now, there's this story that Deji's, one of his past coaches or whatever, had to shut down his gym because of Deji's fan base, because they found there was videos or whatever of them not training Deji properly. They took him away on holiday, not on holiday, like a camp.
Yeah.
But they were out partying and stuff while Deji's just left there. You know, this is what happened. I'm not saying that's what happened, but I'm saying this is apparently
allegedly
what happened, and this is apparently why this guy had to shut down his gym. You know what I mean? And I was like, man, I don't want that to happen to me, because Deji has got a very, very strong fan base, loyal fan base as well. Even down to the point that if Deji hasn't got a 6-pack, they're looking at me of why he ain't got a 6-pack. You know what I mean? When that ain't the reason why he ain't got a 6-pack. So against Fuzi, we were confident, obviously, because of what we had done in that first fight, even though he didn't get the victory against Wasabi. The signs were there, and that was only 2-3 weeks of work. So we had a proper camp this time, proper sparring, and I could get to him more here. So we were confident. I remember the Wasabi fight. Before the fight, he was going, Coach, what happens if I gas out? He was so paranoid because he knew that he hadn't trained properly before he come to me. You know what I mean? So he was like, what will happen if I gas out? With the Fuzi fight, we're in the hotel room on the day of the fight, and he goes, Coach, what happens if I gas out? And I just looked at him, what? And he said, I'm just joking. When he said that, I knew he was going to win. I knew his mindset had been changed to do something like that. But at the same time, there's something in the back of my head going, if Deji loses this, I'm going to be seen as the world's bloody crappiest coach.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know Cinderella? At midnight, where everything coming back to reality, and she goes back to her normal clothes? That's what I was thinking. I was saying, after that fight, at midnight, my page is going to be full of so much hate or so much love. And luckily for us, he
delivered,
and that's like, that's probably one of the best. I think it's in the top 3, top 5 best misfit moments.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Do you plan to train any more?
I've turned down loads.
Yeah, that was gonna be the next question.
I've turned down loads. Not because I'm being disrespectful or anything like that. It's just, I demand a lot of myself, and I demand a lot of my fighters. And to be the best or to progress, you need time.
Yeah.
My time's worth more than money.
Of course it is.
You know what I mean? Because I want to win. So I don't want to be one of those coaches that coach 10, 15, 20 fights just because I want a percentage out of them and to build up my money.
But then you spread yourself too thin as well, so the fighter's not getting the most of you.
Exactly. All my fighters, they have, especially when they're in camp, they all have dedicated times.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
There might be a day here where I bring them in together just so they can all motivate each other. If we're doing like a bag session, conditioning, you know what I mean? And it's good for bonding as well.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean? Or if we want to go out for lunch, I'll make sure we do a session all together, so then we can all go out to lunch together afterwards, or go bowling, or go to the arcades, or whatever. Because it's all about building that relationship. So, if I always say this ain't about just influencer boxing, professional boxing as well. If a big fighter comes along, I'm at the stage now that I've got fighters that I've built from the beginning of their pro careers. With influencers, I've got fighters I've built, especially my brother, which is my biggest achievement, by the way. I'll talk about if you want to know about that.
Yeah.
But, so now I'm at the stage, like, I think I've worked enough years. I've been in boxing since 14 and I'm 38 now. That I deserve for someone big that's already out there to come along, and I can't refuse it.
Pro.
Yeah,
Boxing.
pro.
Yeah.
Pro.
Yeah.
To come along, or not they don't have to be a world champion. Maybe they're at that stage of they could be a world champion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Do you from a boxing coach perspective, because I've not actually asked any other coach this, like, do you actually scout for talent?
No.
And try and plant the seed? And
No.
You just let them come to you and happen organically, if that is the case.
I just let it happen organically.
Even if you've got your eyes on, I don't know, let's just say Devin Haney or someone like that, where you're like, I'd fucking love to work with him.
I mean, there's fighters I would love to train.
Who would you love to train?
So I think my perfect style of fighter to train would be someone like... See, my style of coaching is intelligence, behind the jab, behind all the fundamentals, doing everything great, the distance, the timing, the footwork, but I want them to be able to bang as well.
So more the American style?
Yeah, my style is American style,
Yeah.
Teofimo Lopez. I think that style there, it suits me down to a T, that kind of style. If he come to me tomorrow...
And do you have the humility in you to say, do you know what? I probably couldn't do you justice. You'd be better off with another coach. Or do you think actually anyone would benefit working with you?
It depends what their style is. There's some fighters that probably wouldn't gel with me.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean? So it just depends on their style.
I want to ask you, Daley, with obviously, again, with social media, boxing, and where it's going, how important is somebody's image, regardless of skill level? Like, do you bring that into your mind as well when you're saying, actually, do you know what, he wants to get trained by you, da-da-da? Do you look and go, actually, you don't fucking look marketable, you don't... Or is that not a worry for you? Because I understand that you're more about the boxing, you're a purist in that respect, and you're a student of the game. But at the same time, you've kind of got to know what works as well. Because if we look at, I mean, I'll use a good friend, Josh Kelly, as an example. He's good looking. Do you know what I mean? So he already, in my mind, fits where he needs to be. Even from his, don't get me wrong, mate, I love his fighting style. I love to watch him. I think he's like a fucking dancer. But at the same time, he also looks the part. There's other boxers, not so much.
Yeah.
They're still skilled, but they don't look that way. And I feel like, does that help a fighter? And do you think it's important? Is it something you'd look for?
Yeah, well, I'm a boxing manager as well. So I manage my fighters as well. So, yeah, that plays a big
I didn't
part.
actually know you were a manager as well.
Yeah, I'm a manager as well. So
Right, I
I
see.
manage my pros as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I always talk to them about that stuff, even down to ring song choice.
Do you?
Yeah, because not that I pick their songs, but I say, listen, you got to be smart with the audience, you know? Pick a song that everyone knows.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they can all sing it when you walk into the ring.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Start that from day one. Don't wait until you're a world champion. start building yourself, even down to what your song choice. Me personally, obviously, I love gangster rap as well.
Yeah.
But you got to be more smart than that, man. When you're marketing yourself, you can't be going, all swearing or talking about girls in a certain way in the song or whatever, and just walk to the ring with it. It's not very, doesn't look good on you. You won't get a fan base like that. So even down to a song choice is important.
Yeah, of course. Do you tell them to post on socials and create certain
Yeah,
types of
I
content?
do.
And all
Sometimes it's annoying because they don't do it enough. You know what I mean? And that's the good thing about the influencer boxing side of thing. I know they got a fan base before the boxing, but what I'm trying to say is by them coming into the sport, it helps educate as well, pro boxers, how things should be done. You know what I mean? Because these days you got to be more than just a boxer. Otherwise, no one's going to watch you. You know what I mean? And that's on your social media. You can't just wait. You can't just wait to fight and think you're going to get fans. You have to have something about you, a persona. You have to have something about you, whether that's you're a big joker, whether you're good looking. If you're good looking, then post yourself.
Storytelling, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think Eddie Hearn's good at that. Like kind of painting pictures for certain fighters and telling a story, getting the buy-in. Do you know what I mean?
That Devin Haney prograde build-up was actually very good.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. I think without that stuff, and this is again, it's why I've got you on, because in my mind, I'll be thinking, Daley's not going to be bothered about the build-up, like in terms of like the bullshit, the press conferences and all that type of stuff.
No, I am. Yeah.
But you are, because you're ultimately you're a manager, you're a businessman.
And I used to fight.
Yeah.
I used to fight, and I knew where I could have got to as a fighter. So all those little small details, I already had that planned in my mind anyway. So, when it comes to my fighters doing stuff, I try to educate them and advise them, hey, even media work.
Yeah, of course.
Don't talk all like street and all that kind of stuff and all that, because the fans won't identify, they won't gravitate towards you if you're talking like that.
Yeah.
And just being real, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. If you talk like that, learn to talk properly, in front of the camera. Small things like that. Yeah, I try to show them all the time, man. Even my brother, King Kenny, even though he's a famous YouTube star, I say, yeah, you're a famous YouTube star, but now you've put yourself into boxing. All your fans want to see boxing content. Yeah. But you don't post no boxing content. You know what I mean?
Exactly, yeah.
So how are they gonna what's the word? How are they gonna want to watch? How are you gonna build something in the influencer boxing world if you're not showing anything about your boxing life?
Yeah, exactly. You've got to portray yourself in a certain way that the fans are gonna see.
Yeah, because in Beta Squad, he's seen as the boxer now.
Yeah.
Chunks is the TV personality.
Yeah.
And then you've got Sharky, who's got his own clothing brand. Mm-hmm. Everyone has an identity. He's the boxer now, so
he has to live that.
He has to live that. You know what I mean?
Does he live like a boxer now?
Yeah,
so
he does.
It's actually real.
Yeah,
it's not
he
just
does.
for a fight. And then
No. He's a student of the game. You know what I mean?
That's unbelievable.
Student.
I think even me, even the knowledge I've got and stuff like that, I think actually, do they live the life though? Like
he is so dedicated. It's unbelievable. He might as well be have the pro boxer mindset.
So, what are your thoughts on influencer boxing now? Then, has it changed to what you thought when you first? Are you pro? Are you with it, or are you?
No, I'm with it as long as it's done the right way.
Yeah.
Which slowly it has started to become that way. Mm-hmm. Like even if you see before the fights, when it comes to you dealing with the commission and stuff.
Yeah.
All done.
Proper.
You know what I mean? Down to the testing, down to the glove selection, down to someone watching you get your hands wrapped, the gloves, everything's the way Misfits do it, everything is probably better than professional boxing, the way they do things.
It's the eyes, isn't it?
Do you know what I mean?
Do it, aren't they?
Even the what they do, the visuals.
Mate, Manchester. I actually saw you there. I did the Fury KSI fight week, and I was doing all the filming and stuff there, and I saw you actually kicking around. But even me, I've never seen a city so busy in my life, bro. And I'm like, I've never seen this in pro boxing, ever.
Yeah.
So something like that. And when I did the in fact, that was when you commented on Floyd and Chalmers. Yeah, that was the one. And I was there ringside as well, and I was like, I've never seen this place like this ever. So I know that it's got to be a good thing for the eyes on the sport and all the rest of it. But ultimately, for me, and someone asked me that, he was like, well, what do you think about it then, talking to all these boxers and coaches and stuff? I was like, mate, people will come into the gym who were literally going to go to prison because they're YouTubers there. It's fucking worth it then.
Yeah.
Nothing else matters at this point. Do you know what I mean? Like, that I understand but I'm a boxing fan. What about him who's give 20 years to the game and he has a... So what would you say to a pro boxer who was thinking about doing the influencer scene? Do you agree with that as well?
It depends what their goal is. And it depends what their following is as well. You know, what do they do away from boxing that's going to get the attention for influencer boxing?
So with Fury,
also
their
level as well.
Yeah.
You got to remember the KSI is slightly, in Jake Paul, is slightly different to the other influencers.
Yeah, of course.
Right? They're on a different level to the point where they're doing crossover boxing, not influencer boxing.
So they're like actual boxers.
Yeah, and they're trying to be the ones to say, look, I beat a real professional boxer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's a good point.
So it just depends on their goal, because if you're talking about standard influencer boxing, and then my fighter Martin Foru couldn't go and do influencer boxing, he'd knock every single one of them out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? With ease. It wouldn't even be fair.
Yeah.
So even if he had a following, unless they made some proper pro boxing league or division for influencers, then there's no way Martin could step in the ring.
Do you think that's experience based? The reason I say this, so I had Davey Grant, a UFC fighter, on the podcast, and he's had a great career. And he was like, look, like with boxing and UFC and mixed martial arts, he was like, look, he's like, I couldn't go up against a boxer. He's going to ping us all day long if it was boxing. But he said that, but it put him in a cage. He said that's no boxer's ever going to stand. What do you think about that? Do you think that's legit? Do you think like boxers can't go with MMA fighters, but it can be done the other way around?
Yeah, because in MMA, you've got how many disciplines? Like 4 or 5 disciplines.
Yeah.
So it's easier for an MMA fighter to. I said I've done this on one of my YouTube videos. It's easier about that when we're talking about Ngannou, Fury.
Yeah.
I was saying it's easier for an MMA fighter to transition into boxing because one of their disciplines is boxing.
Yeah, of course.
Boxers, what discipline do? Only boxing. They don't do no grappling, wrestling, and all that kind of stuff. All the other stuff going on, jiu-jitsu. So obviously, it's stupid when MMA fighters or MMA fans goes, well, a boxer wouldn't get in the ring, get in a cage because you're pussies or whatever. I'm like, that's just a stupid comment because obviously they're not dumb enough to do that because they need to train.
And it's a completely different sport, isn't it?
Completely different.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean? Why do MMA fighters come to transition to boxing?
Because it's easier.
It's easier because they only have to use their fists. You know what I mean? So it ain't about being scared. It's about being smart. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I agree with you. Like,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
Also, who has more money?
Yeah.
Boxing.
That's a thing, isn't it?
MMA don't.
Unless you're at the top.
Unless you're a Conor McGregor, or you know people like that, where you're at the pinnacle. But even then, what's been McGregor's biggest check? Hasn't been from MMA.
That's fucking crazy.
It's been from fighting Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah.
So so as much as they want to criticize us not going over to MMA, there's a reason they want to come over to boxing. It's because they're going to get the biggest check they've ever earned. You know what I mean? And Ngannou, he got
his stock's gone up, hasn't it?
And he got the biggest check.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have got that in MMA.
No.
That check.
No.
You know what I mean? So it's better for MMA fighters to cross over. What
do you think about that fight? I just want to ask you about that, the Fury and Ngannou.
Yeah, I done a breakdown on it on my
yeah.
YouTube channel, and I gave it to one point to Fury. You know what I mean? Because you're going to get MMA fans, because he dropped him. Like, he won the fight. But when you look at it in proper detail, right, although Fury looked rubbish, he done enough in all the rounds, to narrowly win that fight. There was a few moments in that fight, the knockdown, and then there was another little where he unloaded on him. But in between the lines, Ngannou was just sitting back, waiting to counter. Fury is the one busy, throwing jabs. And that's what MMA background, the MMA people don't understand. Jabs and ring generalship, they score.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you wasn't to throw if nobody was to throw a punch at all in boxing, in a round, then what does it get scored on? It gets scored on ring generalship. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That's one of the things. If you look up the rules of boxing, that's one of the things judges score on is ring generalship. And in the whole grand scheme of things, Fury won that fight just by dictating behind a jab, feints, moving off left, moving off right. And there was a few scary moments he got dropped, and then, you know what I mean? That's it.
Do you ever does it ever do your head in, boxing?
Yeah.
Are you ever like, I'm falling out of love with this shit?
Yeah, Malik Scott come up to me in Manchester, actually, and said, bro, do you find it hard to switch off? And I said, yeah. And Malik was going, yeah, I don't know how to switch off, man. And it's annoying. Because, yeah, you do want to switch off. I want to switch off with my family. I want to go on holiday. I haven't been on holiday in a long time. I want to do all these things. But you just constantly, there's always something. You know what I mean? I've got 4 fighters. So there's something you're always training for. You know what I mean? So it's very hard to switch off, and mentally that can be draining for a trainer, because you constantly have to think not just about the training, trying to call people for sparring, or maybe he's not doing something right in the gym, so you go home, and even though you've got your family there, you're studying and you're trying to think, how can I improve this? How can I do this? How can the fighter do this? You know what I mean? So it's constantly on your mind. So it's very hard to switch off.
How do you, when you do switch off, what is it? What's the shit you enjoy?
Obviously, I'm around my family, but I'm a big movie geek.
Right, okay.
So I love movies, especially classic movies, like old, like Michael Douglas, Al Pacino, I like Leonardo DiCaprio, all these kind of actors. I like comedy as well, things that make me laugh.
Are you happy now? Are you happy?
Just in general?
Just in general. Are you all right?
Yeah. It's a hard question. My fighter asked me that. Mm-hmm. I said, I'll be happy when you win a world title. Mm-hmm. It's hard, that one. It's...
Because... And the reason I ask you this, Daley, I remember when I started the content PT business, right, in the first couple of years, my biggest struggle was when business was shit for me, I couldn't, I don't know if it's a word, but disattach it to my life. So I felt like my life was shit. I had everything around us, perfect. But when things weren't going well in business or how I wanted them to, because I was so focused on that thing, I used to, everything was shit. So I really... Now I'm at the point where I'm like, business is business, and it's gonna be okay. So I try my hardest, even purposely, not to reply to a DM. If I get an inquiry at 10:30 at night, and I'm watching something or I'm just chilling Netflix, whatever it is, that's gonna have to happen tomorrow. And even now it's hard. With you and your life and everything you've achieved and what you're going on to do, and I think that you're probably at the fucking start of your career, really. And I just want to know if you're okay, like generally, like, yeah.
I think happiness for me, like, is like I own my own gym now.
Yeah.
Trenches. Me and my business partner opened up our own gym. But sometimes I think, even when great things are happening, am I really deep down happy though? So it's a really hard one for me.
Do you think it's like a surface level happiness?
Yeah. I think I'm like the Joker.
Mm-hmm. I feel like,
poker face.
Yeah. It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah. You know, I don't mean to get deep, but sometimes I think like the only reason why I'm here is because I got air, and that's it.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to do everything I can while I'm still here to block out. People might say it's not selfish, but it's selfish to me.
Yeah.
As in block out everything that's going on wrong with me inside my brain and what I got going on, just so I can just do what needs to be done. And what needs to be done is making sure my kids are settled and I've got money to look after them, my wife, my family, and to make sure my gym and build those world champions. That's what I think I'm here for.
Because I was going to ask you what drives you, but you've clearly answered that.
Yeah.
That's
because if it wasn't that, with all the shit I've been through, I don't even know if I'll be here. So I block a lot of stuff out just so I can do the stuff that needs to be done.
What are your hardest challenges right now in your mind? Like, what is the type of shit where you're like, this is a fucking bad day and nothing can shake this shit?
I don't know. There's so many things. It's like so muddled in my brain that sometimes I think because I mask a lot of stuff and I keep everything inside and I don't deal with the situation, that everything just becomes fuzzy. So it's like I just get on with life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just get on with life. There's some things that... I know it sounds stupid, there's things that I get a lot of anxiety of. Like, for example, if a holiday gets booked,
yeah,
and they're like, let's go on holiday. And they're like, I start getting all worked up and anxiety. I can't even book the holiday. I can't make a decision. So the decision gets made for me. I don't know why I'm like that, because then when I'm on holiday, I'm fine. But it's just all the build up. And it could be like to a family event. It could be friends asking, oh, come round and watch a fight. So my business partner don't know this, and he'll probably know this now. Well, every time he asks me to come round to watch a fight, it's not that I don't want to watch a fight. It's just there's some mental block that I don't know how to enjoy myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just to relax, and it's okay to be around my friends and, have some fun, talk, watch boxing. So a lot of the time I would just chat rubbish.
It's crazy that,
and that like I'm busy or I've got stuff to do, when really I haven't. I'm just sitting at home doing nothing.
I think we all do that to a degree.
Yeah.
And it's funny, you kind of hit a nerve with me there, because for me, mate, I struggle with just basically treating myself to something really fucking bad. Don't know where it comes from, mate. Really bad. Mate, I've got a Volkswagen Golf outside. Yeah. And I've wanted a new car. I can afford a new car, all that type of stuff. And I've wanted a new car for so long. And I'm like, when I deserve it, I'll get something great. And even our lass is like, just get the fucking car. When is that day going to come? And that's the shit that I'll battle with, because I don't know if that day will come.
It happened to me after the Floyd Mayweather fight.
It happened to me after Floyd Mayweather fight.
I got a big check. Went into some jewelers, and I'm not a blingy person as well. Like, even I feel weird wearing this. This is like a gift. But it was another piece that I've got that I've worn a few times at a show. I went into this jewelers, and I was just questioning myself. It took me ages to buy it, because I was just questioning myself. Do I deserve this, or should I really get this? You know what I mean?
Crazy, that, isn't it?
You know what I mean? And then it was Martin, my fighter, going, come on, man. Why you have to feel guilty for just buying one thing for yourself? You know what I mean? It's just one thing.
Fucking, I wonder where that comes from.
Yeah.
It's crazy, bro.
But I will tell you this, though. Maybe it comes from, I've always suffered with this. Christmas, it's not that I hate Christmas, but I'm really, really funny about Christmas. I get a lot of anxiety when it comes to Christmas, because I haven't got family like that where I can go and spend Christmas. Mm-hmm. So it goes to my family I've built myself. We go to her mother and father's house or sister's house for Christmas.
Yeah.
So you got everyone sitting around the table eating Christmas dinner. Everyone sitting around the tree opening presents in the morning. My anxiety is so high, they probably don't even know. Because I just get freaked out to like open presents in front of everyone.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but when they hand me presents, I pile them up to the side and I wait till everyone's done and
in your spare time.
Yeah, I mean, I open the presents like kind of secretly, you know what I mean? I don't know what it is, you know, opening a present and smiling and saying thank you and all this kind of stuff. It's just weird. It's so weird to me.
Goes back to your childhood.
Yeah.
That's what I think, mate. Daley, thank you so much for coming on, mate.
No problem.
I feel like I could have had this conversation fucking all day because there's so many things I'm like, I've missed that. But ultimately, mate, what I don't want to do is rinse the fucking lot. I would love to have you on down the line at some point, bro. You're a good lad and I've enjoyed this conversation, mate. So thank you so much for coming on, mate.
Thanks a lot.
Appreciate it, bro. Thank you, mate.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, mate. Appreciate it.